Good evening. I'm Savannah Sellers in for Tom Llamas. We begin tonight with new details in the Uvalde shooting massacre that further highlight a failed police response as the tragedy unfolded. For the first time, the city of Uvalde released body camera footage from responding officers. The video gives a chilling firsthand look at the fear and confusion inside the hallways of Robb Elementary as gunshots rang out. This footage is being released less than a week after surveillance video obtained by the Austin American-Statesman showed officers waiting more than 70 minutes to confront the gunman. We also have a new report by the Texas House Committee, and it blames local, state, and federal law enforcement for failing to stop that shooting that left 21 people dead, including 19 children. The heartbreak unimaginable for the families of those victims. And tonight, the father of 10-year-old victim Rogelio Torres joins Top Story. We'll hear how he's reacting to the latest developments and the questions he has for those officers. We'll get to that in just a few minutes, but we begin with Sam Brock, who leads us off from Uvalde.
It's the clearest picture yet of catastrophe.
He's shooting in the classroom.
Minutes after entering the school, officers retreating under fire.
Am I bleeding?
Then a plea from one responder grazed by a bullet to confront the gunman again in those precious early minutes.
We gotta get in there. He just keeps shooting.
The newly released body cam footage offering a glimpse into the chaos and lack of organization.
We're having a problem getting in.
At one point, school police chief Pete Arredondo heard pleading with the shooter who had already unleashed more than 100 rounds.
Sir, let me know if there's any kids in there or anything. This could be peaceful.
A new preliminary report into the emergency response finding 376 officers arrived, more than half state and federal agents trained in responding to mass shootings. The authors concluding egregiously poor decision-making, saying the officers, quote, failed to prioritize saving the lives of innocent victims over their own safety.
I'm a father of 3, and sadly, I've dealt with mass shootings before. Why did this happen to us? We're here today to provide some of those answers in Uvalde.
But no breakdown of the failed response will be enough for these families.
Don't forget about these kids every day. Their names, not people, they're babies.
11 children died in room 111. Miraculously, 11 survived in room 112, including Gilbert Mata.
How's your son doing right now?
He's not good. He looks okay, but you can tell that he's changed.
Children are not supposed to witness a grown man that goes to war, can't even deal with PTSD. Now a little mind like his has to go through it.
The report details crossed communication, Wi-Fi that didn't work properly, and information about 911 calls some officers were learning about on scene.
Well, the victims, child called 911 saying they were full victims.
Though that knowledge did not prompt a change in approach.
I knew that something was wrong, but
Arnulfo Reyes was shot in his arm and back.
I remember a lot of things. Just the shooting, him shooting me first, and then shooting the kids.
It took 77 minutes for that help to arrive. Every one of his students was killed.
I didn't hear any trying to open the door or anything.
You did not hear any efforts to try to open that door while you were bleeding potentially to death inside of the classroom?
No.
Sam joins us now live from Uvalde, where he's been listening in on a school board meeting happening right now. And Sam, I imagine emotions are running high in there. Tell us what you're hearing from parents.
It's a normal school board meeting, Savannah. They allotted about a 45-minute time period, which we're just now reaching. We'll see if it extends for parents to really vent how they're feeling. The second you step through their doors, you can feel the tension. And one woman who has a daughter in elementary school, not Robb Elementary, but Dalton, talked about the fact that the last line of defense against intruders, against threats, are these doors that are supposed to lock on the outside of schools, and 3 doors at Uvalde's Robb Elementary did not lock properly. She fears the same is the case at her school, and she is worried, she said, about sending her daughter back to school in the coming weeks. She said there is no reality in which that should be the case. How are you not taking care of this? Why was it not addressed preemptively, or not preemptively, but really when it was clear that there was a widespread issue? How have they kept money from fixing schools? Those are the kinds of things we're hearing right now. And also prosecute Pete Arredondo. Some folks holding up signs inside. Of course, Pete Arredondo, the now administrative leave placed police chief for the school system here. We'll wait to see how that turns out. But right now, there are parents who are infuriated right now, Savannah. That is not expected to change anytime soon. Savannah.
It's just heartbreaking. And as you laid out, Sam, so many questions still. Sam Brock from Uvalde, thank you. Now, the families of the victims in the Uvalde shooting are still mourning, of course, as this new information is being released. We're joined now by one of those victims' family members, Federico Torres, the father of 10-year-old Rogelio Torres. Federico, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm so sorry for your loss. We see your sweet boy there. I imagine it's difficult to talk about, so we so appreciate you opening up. How difficult is it to see these videos? Is it to learn new information about what transpired that day as you're still in the process of mourning your loss?
Well, it's been so hard watching all these videos right now.
Absolutely.
I can't imagine how can those police officers didn't make nothing there. There's the proof that they didn't make nothing. Why? They didn't do nothing. It's hard for me right now, you know. I wasn't updated with this. So right now I'm watching all those videos right now on Facebook and YouTube, TV. And there's the proof. What else the law wants to check? Why didn't they do nothing? Why didn't Peter Redondo didn't give the orders? You know, it's hard for us right now processing all this case right now.
Absolutely. Mr. Torres, I wonder, what questions do you have for law enforcement when you hear these details from this report and see this video? What do you want to directly ask them?
I want to ask, what are they going to do now? There's the proof that the police didn't make nothing. There's the proof that Redondo didn't give orders. He didn't make nothing. They ran at the first shots and all that. Why? What are they going to do about it? Is Redondo going to be charged for that? Is the first police are going to be charged for that? Are they going to keep some responsibility for that? Are just going to they just going to get fired? Or I don't know. They're supposed to get charges. For me, they're supposed to get charges on that. It's their fault. Our kids are not alive no more. They didn't do nothing. They were there. Why didn't they act at that time? What are they were waiting for? I'm asking the woman, what is he going to do? I'm asking the person, what is he going to do? The Uvalde department from police department, what are they going to do? What responsibility are they going to take?
And Federico, what is it that you would like to see? I mean, I know nothing brings your sweet boy back, a little boy who I understand loved football, loved Pokemon, but is there anything in your opinion that can be done for accountability here?
I really, right now, I don't know what to ask no more. I don't have words right now. I'm just dealing with all this right now. It's so painful for me, waking up every day and knowing my child's not here no more. It's hard to process all this right now. I'm still processing all this, but it's going to be a long time to go. Really, I don't have nothing else to ask no more. I'm just listening and watching and everything, and I don't see nothing I've done yet. Police and everybody just like, we're investigating, we're doing our job. I mean, they're not doing nothing right now. Everybody's job, it's over a month already. They're just forgetting about everything. So they're like, this is gonna take months, this and that. It's horrible to hear, but they're not gonna do that.
Federico Torres, again.
Kids, they haven't told us nothing else. They haven't done nothing. I don't know what they can do.
Again, we are so sorry for your loss, and I know nothing, again, brings your son back, but we so appreciate you spending the time to talk with us and tell us what you're going through right now. Thank you for your time. And for more analysis on the newest developments out of Uvalde, let's bring in NBC News law enforcement analyst Jim Kavanaugh. Jim, thanks for joining us tonight. So, I mean, you know, you've been able to see this body camera video. You've been able to read these findings in this investigation. None of it even really matters in comparison to hearing the words of people who are missing their children every day. What catches your attention? I mean, you hear a father there asking, why were they running away? That's certainly a question I have. What catches your attention?
Right, Savannah, it's just heartbreaking. Well, there's an initial burst of bravery where the 3 officers go down the hallway to the classroom where the kids are being slaughtered. They go right there. They should have went in, and then the killer fires on them and they retreat. And there should have been then a second charge of another 3 officers. So when I watch the video, I think what strikes me the most is it looks like they're in the doldrums. They're in a dormant state, stagnation, inertia. They're just stuck in the hallway. And what they needed was dynamic, aggressive, energetic action, courageous action. That's what they needed. And, you know, the result of that failure is agony, misery, and death. And so what they do is they're dormant, stagnated when they needed that courageous action. And so that's why the dad is so upset. That's why all the parents and grandparents and all the families and the whole city and the state and the rest of us are saying, look, if you're going to be a cop, when they're murdering people, you got to go in. You know, I carried a badge for 36 years. It ain't easy getting shot at. Nobody likes it. But when you sign up, it's like a firefighter. You join up, the building's on fire, you got to go in. And they needed that aggressive action there. And the on-scene commander, who's the chief of the school district police, says he didn't know he was the on-scene commander. He needed to turn and look at the shoulder of his uniform where he's got a bunch of stars on there. He should know his job, and his job was to make decisions and not be the first guy in with a rifle. He needed to make the decisions, and he wasn't doing it. He was stagnated. He was in the doldrums, like a ship, you know, with no wind in the ocean. He was just sitting still when he should have been in there saving those children.
One thing that we did see Chief Arredondo do that's captured on this body camera footage was trying to negotiate with the shooter briefly through the door. Is that normal practice, and what did you make about how it was that he was trying to communicate with the shooter? And did his judgment cost the victims behind those doors in these classrooms that it sounds like we're not sure if they've been tried to be opened or not? Did it cost their lives?
Well, I think it did. Look, I'm a negotiator, and I talked to people when people were bleeding out, and we were sending, you know, agents to rescue them. I would be talking to the gunman or have a negotiator talking to the gunman. At the same time, I was sending the agents down the hallway to kill him. I wouldn't be, you know, talking to him so he could kill the children. I'm always for talking to people if that can stop anything, but in this case, you can't stop the dynamic action because there's active killing. You need to be moving to get in position, and you could use the talk for just a minute if you had to move to get in position an officer to shoot through the window, or position a team to go through the door, Savannah. You could take a little bit if he wasn't actively murdering at the second, but you don't have time. People are bleeding to death, and you should know that if you're the commander. So I don't fault him for saying anything to the killer. Go ahead, talk to the killer. If it prevents him from pulling the trigger, that's fine. But at the same time you're talking, you should be sending those agents and those officers down the hallway in there in stacks to kill him, because he's got to be stopped.
All right. Jim Kavanaugh, you said it, just heartbreaking. Thank you so much for joining us. And now to the long-awaited sentencing trial of the Marjory Stoneman Douglas school shooter, more than 4 years after that gunman killed 14 students and 3 teachers. NBC's Carrie Sanders is in Broward County with the latest on the emotional trial as the jury weighs a life in prison or the death penalty.
He is the gunman who took an Uber to Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School and then murdered 14 students and 3 staff, tried to murder 17 more. The now 23-year-old former student has admitted his guilt.
I'm going to speak to you about the unspeakable. Systematic murder, mass murder.
This rare sentencing-only trial that began today comes after 4 painful years of waiting by victims' families and survivors.
I need closure to this part of it, to the penalty phase, so that I don't have to deal with this murderer anymore.
The 12-member jury, as well as families, will hear every detail of the carnage. For some, too much.
911, what's your emergency?
Hello, we're at Stoneman Douglas High School, and I think there's a shooter.
Gunshots. Later, whispers from students hiding.
He's gonna get us out.
The trial will show security video of the defenseless students fired on with an AR-15. Jurors seated just feet away as survivors testify will feel the still raw emotion that has not faded. Jurors will then recommend either life in prison or the death penalty. Victoria Gonzalez shared this video with NBC News. The photo, her boyfriend, Joaquin Gonzalez.
Let's remember those we love and that they will live with us forever, regardless of what happens, and know that doing your best is enough. I'm with all of you.
Debbie Hickson's husband, Chris, ran into the building to try to disarm the former student. What is the appropriate punishment here?
You know, at the end of the day, nothing's going to change what's here for us. But I just personally don't feel that this individual should be sucking any more energy out of our community, any of our resources. So for me, I think that the best justice that we're going to get is the death penalty.
Today, the gunman sat in court listening to it all.
And Carrie Sanders joins us now from the Broward County Courthouse. Carrie, you and I have both spent time with Parkland survivors, with their families. This trial will no doubt be very difficult and potentially even re-traumatizing for them. What have they been telling you about how they're going to handle it?
Well, it is a gut-wrenching experience, and this trial could go on for weeks, maybe for months. Look, some of the survivors wonder whether, in some sort of perverse way, the gunman here, sitting during this penalty phase, having everybody testify, listening to the videos and the audios, whether in some sort of perverse way he is reliving what pain he has already caused. Nobody knows because, well, this gunman really doesn't say much and has never fully explained what even caused him to go to the campus and begin shooting to begin with. Savannah?
All right, thank you, Carrie. And now to the brutal heat wave gripping much of the country. Tens of millions are suffering through oppressive triple-digit temperatures as the forecast calls for record-breaking heat waves in several states. And these dangerous conditions are not just limited to the U.S. Parts of Europe are also bracing for their hottest days on record. Miguel Almaguer reports.
Shattering records and threatening lives. Tonight, this is the brutal broil baking tens of millions.
It's sweltering, and what's the worst is there's no air moving.
The blistering heat wave turning much of the nation into an oven. 141 million people experiencing temperatures above 90 degrees. 51 million sweltering in triple digits.
I make sure to bring water, take breaks.
Setting records across much of the country. Today, heat alerts for at least 20 states from California to Mississippi. Salt Lake City tying their all-time high Sunday, 107 degrees. Memphis, Houston, and San Antonio having their hottest summers on record.
Without a doubt, it is a life and death situation.
Dallas hitting 106, where Michael Steed, suffering from chronic health problems and living on a fixed income, could face a deadly summer.
I don't have central air, and it would have me at over 100 degrees inside of the house.
In Fresno, California, where it will be triple digits all week, the fire department is responding to dozens of calls for heat exhaustion.
How quickly can this weather turn deadly?
You know, it could be, depending on your age, it could be within a half hour.
In Scottsdale, a Ring camera captured a delivery driver collapsing in the heat. Record temperatures and historic drought also forcing cash-strapped cattle ranchers to sell their herds, which will inevitably drive up beef prices later this year.
They're out of grass, out of water. Nobody's making any hay.
With drought also crippling Europe, the UK is poised to be hotter than 99% of the planet, up to 30 degrees above average, forcing the closures of airport runways, crumbling in the summer weather. Tonight, our nation already feeling the heat, with the hottest weeks still to come.
Miguel Almaguer joins us now from Fresno. Now, Miguel, Central California is no stranger to hot temperatures, but what's happening there where you are in Fresno is unusual, is that right?
That's absolutely right. This area is experiencing one of the hottest summers on record. It's in the top 10 already. Later on today, we expect temperatures here to be about 104 degrees. Those hot temperatures will last for at least the next 8 to 10 days.
Thank you, Miguel. Now, in addition to the dangerous heat, millions along the East Coast are also in the path of severe weather. New video from Fairlawn, New Jersey shows cars fully submerged in water after a burst of torrential rain sparked flash flooding. Obviously, there's a lot of weather to get to, so let's bring in Al Roker. How long can we expect this to last?
Well, Savannah, the severe weather here in the Northeast is going to last another few hours. We've got airport delays for Boston, New York, JFK, Newark, and Philadelphia. They're looking pretty good, but they could see some more delays as another round of showers and thunderstorms come in. We have severe thunderstorm watches from New England all the way down into Virginia. Now, we've got 19 million people at risk for this severe weather tonight into early tomorrow morning from New England all the way down to Roanoke. We've also got a risk of severe weather back from Minnesota all the way into the plains. We'll be watching that closely overnight as well. Plus the dangerous heat. That's all we've been talking about. 38 million people impacted from the Dakotas all the way down to Texas and the lower Mississippi River Valley. Heat is on tomorrow. Air temperatures triple digits for San Angelo, Wichita, Albuquerque, Phoenix, and El Paso. Heat indexes 110 in Little Rock, 107 in Baton Rouge. Houston's going to feel like 108 degrees, and it's going to go right into the weekend. Look at these temperatures, 90s in New York into Friday, D.C., Charlotte, also St. Louis and Nashville, and no relief in sight going into next week. Look at these warmer than average temperatures. The bullseye in the Central Plains, also the Pacific Northwest, but warmer than average temperatures through the Great Lakes all the way into New England and down on into the Gulf. And our friends, we've been talking about this. Look at these triple-digit temperatures. Paris, 105 tomorrow, 101 in London. Then temperatures drop back to 78 degrees, but really record-breaking temperatures for them. And in fact, Britain's all-time record high, 102, July 25th, 2019. And we're seeing longer bouts of extreme heat in this country. We're talking 74% of the United States with longer heat waves today than we had 50 years ago in the 1970s. In fact, typical 95-degree plus day streak in 1970 for San Antonio, 35 days. It was 13, now 35. A typical Miami 90-plus streak, 8 days in 1970, 26 days in 2020. So, Savannah, the heat is on, and it's lasting longer.
Hot, hot, hot. Thank you, Al Roker. Now in Indiana, 3 people were killed and 2 more were wounded when a gunman opened fire at a shopping mall Sunday night. The shooter taken down by a shopper who happened to be carrying a gun. That Good Samaritan now credited with saving lives. NBC's Maggie Vespa is on the scene tonight.
Another American mass shooting with a rare twist after authorities near Indianapolis say a Good Samaritan armed with a handgun shot the gunman and ended the chaos.
Many more people would have died last night if not for a responsible armed citizen.
Investigators tonight naming that Good Samaritan as Elijah Dickin, a 22-year-old Indiana man who's declining to speak publicly. They say the Good Samaritan was legally carrying a handgun at the Greenwood Park Mall with his girlfriend when around 5 p.m. Sunday, the 20-year-old gunman entered the food court, armed with 2 semi-automatic rifles and a handgun. Investigators say he first went to the restroom and stayed for an hour, stashing his phone in a toilet, then emerged and started firing.
We heard loud gunshots.
They say the gunman killed 3, including Victor Gomez, and injured a 12-year-old girl.
Seen somebody laying on the ground, and I just grabbed my kids and we ran.
Authorities say the armed bystander confronted and killed the shooter immediately, a rare outcome amid this kind of carnage. Researchers who study active shooter events tracked 464 attacks between 2000 and 2021. In 73 cases, a bystander stopped the shooter, mostly by subduing them physically. The number of times a bystander shot the shooter, 24.
This young man, Greenwood's Good Samaritan, acted within seconds, stopping the shooter and saving countless lives.
Maggie Vespa joins us now from Greenwood, Indiana. Maggie, the big question left hanging over this attack is the motive. Have police revealed anything about why the shooter might have done this?
So, Savannah, police haven't revealed the exact motive, but they did kind of reveal some details about the shooter's life leading up to this. They say earlier this year he began purchasing weapons, especially those 2 semi-automatic rifles that he had with him at the mall. And they say that he practiced at local shooting ranges with those weapons. And then more specifically, recently, they say his family told them he left his job kind of abruptly at a local warehouse. And they said he was recently evicted from his apartment. Beyond that, they say why he chose this mall, that again remains a mystery. We should note that family is declining to comment tonight. Savannah?
All right, Maggie Vespa, thank you. Now, with a series of mass shootings and a rise in gun violence affecting communities coast to coast this summer, many families are shattered by smaller incidents every day. Jesse Kirsch embedded with police officers on a night shift that began with 4 people being shot. It was only the beginning of a busy and disturbing night. And we do want to warn you, some of these images may be difficult to watch.
We got to go to that.
This time, a false alarm.
That wasn't gunshots, right? It was just fireworks?
I don't think so. I think it was like fireworks.
In North Philadelphia, police officers Stephen Viverina and Michael Wolf don't wonder if more violence will erupt. The question is when.
And you know it's going to come. Absolutely.
That constant concern in the city's Kensington neighborhood means other problems can fester until almost too late.
You want to grab his other arm? Help me out.
This man overdoses, head in the street. Thankfully, the Narcan works.
They said as far as those kinds of situations go, that's actually pretty good because he went to the hospital to get help.
Kensington can't hide what police tell us is a multi-million-dollar drug problem.
It's not even heroin anymore. It's just straight up fentanyl.
We're driving by what's called Needle Park. We've seen people with needles in hand.
So, you know, with the manpower situation that we have, if we allocate most of our time to, you know, be able to go out and confiscate any illegal narcotics, basically that's going to eliminate us 2 from the streets for a few hours.
They let other teams focus on drugs. Instead, these officers respond to an alleged attempted stabbing. There's a child at the scene. And on the next shift, a young boy apparently wanders by himself after 1 a.m.
And appears the boy has been reunited with his family, but to think about a young child standing out on these streets in the middle of the night, based on everything we've seen in the area, it's really tough to think about.
That child found by a man searching for his own 22-year-old son.
When you walk through here, drive through here, and you just see what we see under the L tracks here,
yeah,
what goes through your mind?
Sadness. Sadness.
As a parent, what goes through your mind?
Hurt. Like, I don't know how, now that I'm going through it, I don't know how parents, you know, I don't know how they deal with it on a daily basis. Worried about their kid up there, you know, could be dead. You know what I mean? Jail, who knows?
We got to pick a lifeless body up and make sure that we get them the help that they need as fast as possible so that we could try to preserve life.
In a community where sometimes drugs and guns collide.
The gun problem meets the drug problem when, you know, certain drug corners might be operated by a small group of people that run that organization. They may have a problem with another organization that's nearby.
You know, I mean, the whole time you guys were with us, no major incidents happened. People didn't get hurt. No cops got hurt, as long as no citizens got hurt. You know, that wasn't the case before 4 o'clock when you got there, and we had 5 people shot.
Jesse Kirsch joins us now from Philadelphia. So, Jesse, this has become routine for 2 officers over one evening in a city that's having much broader issues. Is that right?
That's right, Savannah. According to the latest city data, at least 269 people have been shot and killed in Philadelphia so far this year. More than 1,000 other people have also been shot but have survived, according to that city data. And the city of Philadelphia's tracking of violence says that there have been nearly 300 homicides overall. So nearly 300 people overall who have been killed in Philadelphia so far this year. They say that's a 2% decrease from 2021. But again, that is still close to 300 lives lost. All of this happening in the same city as what is behind me, Independence Hall, the birthplace of American democracy, where the Declaration of Independence was signed so many years ago, and all of those scenes we showed you from Saturday night into early Sunday, those heartbreaking scenes, all of that happening just miles from where we are now. Savannah?
And still ahead tonight, break in the case, a coma victim waking up after 2 years, who she accused of attacking her once she regained consciousness. Plus, the monkeypox outbreak, cases reported in nearly every state, why many people are struggling to get vaccinated. And the moment a massive wave washes out an outdoor wedding in Hawaii. The historic swells now hitting the state. Stay with us. Welcome back. We now head to West Virginia, where a stunning turn of events has led to the arrest of a man for allegedly attempting to kill his sister. The violent case was at a standstill for years while the victim was in a coma. But tonight, she is awake and finally able to tell police her side of the story. NBC's Stephen Romo has more.
Tonight, a woman in a coma for 2 years, conscious again, and she's identifying her brother as the alleged attacker in the assault that left her on the cusp of death. Wanda Palmer was in a long-term care facility in Martinsville, Virginia, but police say she's finally able to tell them about what happened. It all began 2 years ago when Wanda was found slumped on her couch in her living room, unresponsive and severely wounded, according to the criminal complaint.
They came to mow her grass, and they found her in a big pool of blood, they said, and they run up on the hill real fast on a four-wheeler and told us, and I called the police and the ambulance.
We show up and we see her on the couch, bloodied, battered, bludgeoned in the head and face area. You know, the injuries were consistent with being hit with some sort of an edged weapon, you know, hatchet, an axe, something along that line.
According to police documents, Wanda was making the sound commonly referred to as the death rattle. Miraculously, she survived.
Thank God she's still alive. Thank God.
Investigators initially considered her brother, Daniel Palmer, a suspect due to a previous violent history between the two, but he told police he had not seen his sister in days. Police later spoke with a witness who said he saw Daniel Palmer in the front doorway at Wanda's trailer at midnight the night she was assaulted, according to the criminal complaint.
The real thing we were missing up to this point was someone who could tell us what happened. You know, just recently, that actually come to fruition.
At the end of June, Wanda had not only come out of her coma, but had begun to utter some single words more than 2 years after the incident. Authorities say they drove to her care facility to speak with her. During the conversation, police say she indicated that she recalled living in the trailer and being hurt there, and that she remembered more.
Where she was able to not only name the attacker, but tell us that it was in fact her brother. We put together a plan there late last night, and today we had to actually travel by ATV into a remote location.
Police charging 55-year-old Daniel Palmer with attempted murder and malicious wounding. Our attempts to reach Daniel for comment were unsuccessful. According to the magistrate court clerk in Jackson County, Palmer is refusing to sign any paperwork to obtain an attorney. But for Wendy, hopefully a step towards justice as she continues to recover.
This case is really about the perseverance and the toughness and the strength of the victim in itself.
And Stephen Romo joins us now in the studio. Stephen, just an awful story. You mentioned there towards the end that he's refusing to sign any papers, to get a lawyer. What else do we know about his demeanor? What's next for him?
Yeah, we're actually hearing from law enforcement that he's sort of so combative that the magistrate had to go to the jail to arraign him. He would not be able to go to the courthouse from that. And we also know that his bond is set at $500,000. His next court date is actually a week from today. As for Wanda, she's telling police in interviews that she just needs prayer right now as she continues to try to recover. Of course, she's never going to be the way she was before, according to law enforcement, but she is asking for those thoughts and prayers as she tries to get back to normal.
Wow, just stunning details there. Stephen, thank you. Good to have you with us. And when we come back, the Prince's warning. Prince Harry addresses the UN on Nelson Mandela Day, what he said about the global threat to democracy, including the swipe he took at the Supreme Court. Now to Top Stories newsfeed, and Prince Harry warned of a global threat to democracy during a powerful speech at the United Nations and even took aim at the Supreme Court.
War in Ukraine to the rolling back of constitutional rights here in the United States, we are witnessing a global assault on democracy and freedom.
The Duke of Sussex arrived at the UN General Assembly with his wife, Meghan Markle. He was there to deliver an address to mark Nelson Mandela Day. Harry also called for world leaders to do more to address several global crises, including climate change and a food shortage. The remnants of Hurricane Darby are bringing massive waves to parts of Hawaii. New video shows the moment an outdoor wedding was nearly washed away when a large swell crashed over a seawall in Kona. Now, luckily, no injuries were reported, and the bride and groom say even the cake survived. Much of the state is under high surf warning, with waves up to 25 feet reported. And Snapchat is now on the web after more than a decade as a mobile-only app. The web version will be more focused on the messaging feature. Users will now be able to chat and make video calls from their desktop. Right now, the new feature is exclusive to Snapchat Plus subscribers. And if you are a Snapchatter, you can catch the NBC News Show. Stay tuned with myself, Gotti Schwartz, and Maya Eaglin. This week, we're celebrating our 5th year on the popular platform. Now let's turn to the monkeypox outbreak. Health officials are warning the virus is spreading in New York City. As of today, 618 people have tested positive here, as hundreds more wait for a vaccine in short supply. Antonia Hilton has the story.
Lines at times stretching around the block. People hoping to get their first dose of the monkeypox vaccine.
I am frustrated and I get really anxious because, you really want to get this vaccine, especially because the cases are getting higher and higher.
City officials adding vaccine centers, opening 3 more locations over the weekend. But appointments for the 2-dose vaccines are hard to get.
It's been really difficult to find an appointment lately.
The numbers are still small, but clearly growing. The 618 total cases reported up until Monday in New York City, almost double the total cases reported just last Wednesday. And health officials say the current estimate is likely an undercount. So far, gay and bisexual men have been the group most affected by the virus, but anyone can get it through skin-to-skin or mouth-to-mouth contact. In New York City, vaccine eligibility is limited. Only men who have sex with men or anyone with multiple or anonymous sex partners in the last 2 weeks can get the shot, according to the health department. How are you feeling about the rollout of this vaccine and the spread of monkeypox in New York?
It's a mess.
Along with a lack of vaccines, there have been familiar problems of online portals crashing.
I feel like in this day and age, we shouldn't have portals, crashing because of the amount of people logging in to make an appointment, especially after what just happened with COVID.
The city's health commissioner responding Sunday.
I understand frustration. We're frustrated with the amount of supply that we have of this vaccine. We need to get shots in arms as quickly as possible, but we also need to ensure that equity is built in from the beginning, and that's what we're trying to do now.
New York City, not the only place impacted by the virus. 43 states have at least 1 case, according to the CDC, including Connecticut, which announced its 13th today.
We're still short of vaccines, but we do have some vaccines, more coming right now.
Back in New York, some people coming to get the vaccine from out of state.
I also think that messaging needs to balance targeting the communities who are most affected by monkeypox, which right now is, gay, bisexual, other men who have sex with men, without stigmatizing those communities. It's a very fine line, but I think we need to do a better job of walking that.
For the people who've caught monkeypox, the symptoms vary from fever to exhaustion to a very painful rash. We met a gentleman who has 3 friends with confirmed cases and another who has a friend with all of the symptoms but hasn't been able to get an appointment at a doctor's office. It's really underscoring just how challenging the system has been and how likely it is that we're looking at an undercount. Savannah?
All right, Antonia Hilton, thank you. Now, as monkeypox spreads, the nation is still grappling with yet another COVID wave, this one driven by the BA.5 subvariant, the most transmissible strain yet. COVID is on the rise by every metric. Cases and hospitalizations are both ticking upward, and the daily number of deaths is increasing by more than 20% over the last 2 weeks. Joining me now to break down what all this means is NBC News medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel. Dr. Patel, it's great to have you with us. So, I think some people are like, no, not again. Other people start to tune these numbers out. But put this in context for us. How concerned are you by what you're seeing across the country right now?
Yeah, Savannah, we're not only seeing increasing cases, which is always concerning, especially with something that is literally, as you pointed out, the most infectious version of COVID we've seen yet, but we're now starting to see an unfortunate increase in hospitalizations and deaths. It is not as high as it has been in past waves, thankfully because of vaccines and people who have been previously infected, but it's still very serious. And Savannah, I'm sure you and I both know people who have been reinfected, repeat infections, and that also comes with some risk.
And Dr. Patel, let's talk about that. I mean, unfortunately for you, because I have your phone number, you know, I am one of those people who has been reinfected several times. But people who have had COVID before are getting sick again for even a second or third time. Are those cases more serious compared to the first time infection? What should people know if they are to get it again?
Yeah, so what people should know is that if they are reinfected, don't just dismiss it. It really could be real, even if you had your previous infection as short as a month ago. So go get tested just to confirm and to see if you can get access to treatment. That's the number one kind of thing that I hope people can listen to. Second, there is some peer-reviewed study that is out of Washington University in St. Louis that points to basically an increased risk as you get repeat infections, even in people who are vaccinated and boosted. So that means that reinfections come with some risk that we should take seriously and hopefully avoid. But we have to be cautious about our environments. Something that's so infectious, Savannah, it means that we'll have to put masks back on in places that are indoors and crowded. And you may want to revisit. If anybody around you has symptoms, get them tested. That's easy to do. And just make sure that they're not actively infected.
Dr. Patel, we're also learning that BA.5 is the most vaccine-resistant strain we've seen yet, maybe contributing to those reinfections, also dodging the fact that you've had COVID before. Where do we stand on a shot that could work specifically against this subvariant? And will any more of that inevitably pop up in the future as we get other strains?
Yeah, so the FDA has given guidance to the major manufacturers that they do want this updated vaccine that we expect in October or November to be tailored for BA.4 and BA.5. That's good news. What we know, though, is that we're kind of playing catch-up, Savannah. We know that there will likely be, and there already are some variants popping up all around the world, including in our own country, that we have to keep an eye on because they could replace BA.5 and become the next big variant. So it's critical to be on time with your boosters. Take some vigilance. Enjoy your summer. Don't try to stress about where and when you can't go, but be smart when you go places and take the measures that we know work to stay safe.
As always, great advice talking to us about COVID and monkeypox now morning and night. Dr. Patel, thanks so much. Now to power and politics and the whisper campaign around the 2024 election. Both President Biden and former President Trump facing an uncertain path to their party's potential nominations as insiders weigh younger White House hopefuls for the future for the tickets. NBC News senior national political reporter Natasha Korecki joins us now. Natasha, thanks for being with us. So we're still months away here from when people are typically going to announce their candidacy. But specifically, let's talk about what we're seeing happening with President Biden right now. Of course, in his first term with an approval rating falling. What do you make of that?
Well, it's a really dismal approval rating, and what people are saying in poll after poll, and what we're seeing in our interviews is that it's the economy. There is very little confidence in the economy. Inflation is at an all-time high, and it's just a punishing environment for Joe Biden. One data point that I think is so interesting is in a couple of polls we've seen that actually Democrats in some of these battleground states are outperforming Biden. So Democrats are not necessarily blaming the entire party for the shortcomings of the White House, but they are squarely blaming Biden.
So tell us, what other Democrats have been testing the waters for a 2024 bid?
Sure. So we've had a lot of activity lately. All these people insist, no, I would not run against Biden, but they're sure acting like it. So we've had Gavin Newsom, California governor. He was at the White House last week, making a lot of noise there, talking to the media. He's been really, really active. He was running ads in Florida, encouraging people to come to California where you'll have freedom and choice. And so he's really been taking it to Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, who is also, sizing up his own, future political prospects, and he's polling really well. If Donald Trump doesn't run, we have on the Democratic side, we have a lot of activity. We have Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. He's a billionaire. He's donated a lot of money to a lot of Democratic parties in different states over time. He was just in Florida, also taking it to Ron DeSantis. And I think it's really interesting that a couple of these Democratic governors are already trying, even though they're saying they're not running against Biden, they're not going to try running in 2024. They're very much acting like they're candidates and already trying to square off with who they think might be the top GOP villain to their party.
Natasha calling it like she sees it. All right, now let's talk about the former president. If Trump were to announce before the midterms, is that likely to help or hurt Democrats and Biden's odds for 2024?
Sure. Well, even Republicans will tell you that it helps Democrats, because here we go from what is supposed to be a really good environment for Republicans, where they're expected to make huge gains across the board. If Donald Trump announces, it then turns into a referendum on Donald Trump rather than a referendum on Democrats, the economy, some of the top issues. And it really could potentially rally Democrats and they can unite behind something. And as we saw in 2020, uniting behind trying to beat Donald Trump was really motivating to people. It really animated voters across the board. So, Republicans, even behind the scenes, are telling me and others they really don't want to see this. It's a distraction. It distracts from the issues that they're trying to drive home right now and they think are really big vulnerabilities for Democrats.
All right, Natasha Korecki, who we enlisted to predict the future for us 2 years out. Thanks so much. All right, coming up, crash landing, a commercial plane flipping over and catching fire on a runway overseas. What we're learning about the passengers and crew on board. Back now with top stories. Global watch and a passenger plane crashing in Somalia. New video shows the aircraft upside down and engulfed in flames on the runway in the capital city of Mogadishu. Officials say the Jeddah Airways plane flipped while crash landing. All 36 passengers and crew miraculously managed to make it out alive. The cause of the crash is now under investigation. Now to the latest on the war in Ukraine. Russia has ordered its forces to heavily intensify attacks on all fronts as it tries to take control of the Donbas region. The UN says more than 5,100 civilians have died since the start of the war. And massive protests continue in Panama despite an agreement meant to keep the peace. Roads were blocked in Panama City as a nationwide strike over inflation and rising gas prices enters its second week. Two groups who represent workers in the country broke that agreement signed with the government on Sunday, saying it doesn't knock down prices of food and medication enough. Thanks so much for watching Top Story. In for Tom Llamas, I'm Savannah Sellers in New York. Stay right there. More news is on the way.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.